what participants to come to some kind of a sit around the table type meeting.
Okay.
I think it'd be an idea. You know, I'm just a couple of the boards here, but don't you think, Kendall, from being on it for a long time, and do some brainstorming, a workshop to pull something together, maybe have the county and Midway, and they've got a member on the board, and so's Charleston.
Well, that's county at large seat, but they're from
Yeah.
Charleston.
Yeah. So, you know, with your volition maybe, Jeff, I think we got or city council to endorse or not, as far as.
One thing I'd like to see, the Heber potential, we've talked about this. In the time you've been waiting, and we've been working on this, like Doug said, for about a year, is some kind of pending ordinance. You've let a hotel escape that probably has required quite a bit of affordable housing, I don't know. They've escaped any participation. You're looking at a 600 lot development that, as they're in the works, they probably have escaped.
Well, we
You need
talked
some kind
about
of pending
affordable
ordinance.
housing with them, and they, for what it's worth, they've committed to some affordable housing
Within their
on
budget.
site.
I
think there's something missing in the nexus study, and maybe it can't be applied. But let's just go to an ideal scenario. What if there's an ideal situation where we figure it out and we get all this affordable housing built according to demand? But then those that are in this income range don't have the credit worthiness to be able to buy the home or get the rental unit. I mean, credit worthiness is important. So what kind of percentage I think needs to be figured into this overall formula through Scott Loomis on what's the percentage of people with these certain income ranges that have the credit worthiness to be able to even use whatever it is that we're able to come up with. Does that make sense?
Isn't there something
Shouldn't
built
that
in,
be part of this?
Jeff, that when it's built, you take the low incomes, and if you can't fill them, don't you move up the category on percentage of income?
Yes, and of course, Scott has all of those answers, and yes, there are ways of determining what percentage of those people that apply for rentals and home ownership, what percentage of them are going to be creditworthy. That's not something we need to reinvent, I don't believe.
I just feel like it's missing in this discussion because we're just looking at what can we supply because we think the demand is there, but part of that demand is their credit score.
But you can't solve everybody's problem.
Exactly, but
You provide the housing, if they can't qualify for it, what do you do for
Yeah,
them?
they're asking us to help somehow mandate it or build it or have a fee in lieu.
Have it
and
available.
Figure it out, have it available,
For those that qualify.
but, you know, will they qualify?
But it won't stay empty though, Heidi. It'll move up to someone else. If that low income doesn't qualify, he's still got a housing unit that's cheaper, you know, that somebody else
Demand
can.
is there.
Huh?
That's just something I feel like is missing in this.
Nexus looked at those below 50%, below 70%, below 80%, so you got those different income ranges.
You can even give credits based on the income level that they're building for. In other words, they talked about that the other night, that if the builder will build to a certain
Builder
income level,
Builder tax credits?
well, the credit's toward what he paid in the formulas of what he pays and what's required of him. All that can be discussed and looked at.
So with regard to your question about a pending ordinance, we've looked into that, and the city has the ability to adopt a temporary zoning regulation, but I don't know how many years ago it was, but when you enact a temporary zoning regulation, you can't have any building or development be subject to a fee that would come out of whatever study might be completed within that 6-month period. You're going to have your complete study.
Is that a requirement at city level, not county? Because we've done pending ordinances.
No, you can do a pending ordinance. The issue is the fee.
You can't have.
Well, you tell a developer, we're working on an ordinance that's going to require you to participate in affordable housing fee. We don't know what that is yet.
Right, but the state code specifically says you cannot use a pending ordinance.
How have we done that in the past, Doug? Haven't we done that?
Yeah, but I don't.
maybe not.
I'm not sure how that worked out.
We did it in 1993 before we adopted impact fees, but because of that and similar things that other cities did, the legislature's plugged that hole. I want to say it's 1098-504 from the city perspective that restricts us from.
And maybe we've done it in a different way, I don't know, but I know we've had pending ordinances before that kind of let a developer know that there was something sitting.
When I discussed this with Mark to try to get something for us to enact, that's the roadblock, and maybe if you can see what you're doing on the county, I can't think our rules would be different than yours, sure.
Well, we enacted the pending ordinance for this one, it's expired, but we were telling developers that you'll be under whatever code adopted. Now, I don't know how that would play into the fees if we were legal or not there, but.
We assume we were.
So I like Jeff's idea of each council body picking a representative or so. I assume create a committee to try to pound out some details as opposed to doing it in a large group. What are you thinking as far as numbers? You want one representative from each, or you want two?
Well, I don't think that, I think that somewhere around between 5 and 9 maximum would be the most workable group to work with.
So like 2 from Heber, 3 from the county, 2 from Midway, and
How many's on your low-income board to start with?
It's always been 7.
So unless you make up a whole different board, or would you think that we'd have to add some? Or a whole different board?
I would guess that we would want at least 1 or 2 that's currently on the Housing Authority Board, and a couple from the county, and a couple from the city, and 1 from Midway.
About 7.
Work from that.
So this is the language from 1098-504. A temporary land use regulation under subsection 1A may not impose an impact fee or other financial requirement on a building or development.
The county code's the same. If you go to 1727A 504 1C, it's identical wording. So county may want.
But it hasn't always been that way. I don't know when the change occurred.
I think that what Mike Peterson was saying, though, is accurate, is that we probably want to do it all at the same time if we can, instead of waiting on each other, so that we're all on the same page. And that one of the things that we want to avoid is the ability for a developer to play one against the other, because I think that's what's helped contribute to some of the animosity that's built up over the years that we want to get away from. So I think that if we follow your suggestion, pick 2 from Heber and 3 from the county and 2 from Midway, we're pretty much there at our number. Because otherwise, I believe that we'll spin our wheels all night on this issue.
And to go on with that, one of the reasons we do it jointly is where we all work together and the plan complements each other. It helps Daniel, it helps Charleston. You don't see Daniel really building a bunch of affordable condos in Daniel.
5-acre lots.
We don't want to. We want to keep the county as rural as possible where it is rural. I think that's what our vision's been. And so Daniel and Charleston could be considered to be part of the county as rural that way. So I thought about maybe even having the mayors that can possibly be on the board so they could speak for their town. And maybe keep a tenor in there. That would be a representative from each of the towns. Heber, Midway, Charleston, Daniel. And then have 1 or 2 county representatives possibly. But to try to come up together and work together so that the plan complements. It doesn't hurt one part of the town or another.
So Jeff, could you email an invitation to each entity and the numbers you think, and give them a date to have the names back to you?
Okay.
Is that fair, that each entity decide?
Okay.
What kind of mandate or mission would we give to this board? Just come up with the countywide plan, maybe different zoning areas, projections based on the nexus study, or, refining that?
Well, the county
And then bring it back to each individual entity and.
We're going to be moving ahead of that in our new plan, aren't we, Doug?
Well, I guess that's the question. Are we going to try to do it all
Is
together?
it on hold?
Well, we're working on it. I don't know if we're at adoption level yet. I don't know if the council's at consensus enough to pass it.
Well, I would hope that the county would bring their plan to this table,
Yeah.
and if there's not it, why wouldn't we just adopt the same thing?
Well, they can bring it to the table, use that as a starting point.
That's what I mean,
And then-
yeah, at least.
Then maybe some adjustments made to the county plan that would fit. both.
Cities better.
Yeah. It needs to be fairly soon, because of what these two are saying, you can't apply the fees, we better get it in place as soon as possible.
Right now, we don't even have a draft.
I understand, so, but
Did we do a moratorium on developments over so many units as a result of this, or was that a different issue?
We did attend the ordinance.
It expired.
And I thought we did a moratorium on units over, or developments over 4 units or something.
I think we just exempted
Anything under.
the minor subdivisions.
Okay. So maybe that's one way we can handle it, if we want to do a moratorium on developments over so many units until such time we decide what to do with our long-term housing. Maybe that's
Not in anything.
potentially, if we think that's the right way to go.
And the city can do that too, I guess.
Okay, I'll send a letter out to some sort of communication out of these letters. Yeah. Communication, and we will, when we meet again next month in our interlocal, we'll see how
We
we
can-
fared.
We can discuss it next week in Port Royal.
Yeah, we have 4,000.
We can put it on our 28th meeting.
Okay, yeah, next item on the agenda, Mayor Potter had this and had it all organized, and I was just gonna come and enjoy the meeting. I haven't even looked at what she's got on this. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read through that, as far as the discussion of annexation agreement, annexation policy plan, county city MOU, and Tony Colder staff report.
Is this something that your council has presented or voted on or come to a consensus on yet?
No, we have it on our agenda Thursday night to address and possibly act on. So, Tony, would you like to tell us where we're at on that?
Well, really the particular issue that we were hoping to talk about tonight was agreement versus MOU. And our council has talked about that. I think most of the county, is familiar with that. And I think the majority of our council feels that an MOU is worth exploring over an agreement. And I know it's not fair to say the whole county council feels that way, but I think that was kind of the issue we wanted to talk about tonight.
I have some specific questions on MOU that I'd like to just kind of go over with the county and see what everybody thinks it really means versus maybe what it says. Is that okay to ask a few questions, everybody? So I have it per page, it's a 16-page thing, it's here on the Granicus.
It's up here.
It's, okay, very good. On page,
Has this been made available? Is it?
it's on the, and it's
I
on the
think
Utah Public Notice.
Tony Kohler had sent that out to the county 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's on our website.
What page were you-
Council packet.
and it's on that.
What page did you say?
I'm on page 3 right now, the G says require, and maybe this is just simple stuff, but I just want to make sure we all, I understand it. On 3, under G, or letter G, sorry, require all final subdivision plats to be signed by the appropriate special service district. Is that some kind of approval, or is that just information for the SSD?
Can you
Was that-
expand that to full screen?
Is it an
Can you zoom in a
approval
little
that the
bit?
SSD's giving, or is it just information for them?
I would anticipate that it's an approval saying we have the capabilities of serving this development.
You probably already do that in your budget, right?
We do. And the state code actually requires this anyway.
However, in an MOU, there's no enforceability.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, and do we need to make that stronger?
Well, no, the MOU, the term MOU is like a handshake. The term, the interlocal agreement is a binding document, so this wouldn't be binding.
So it wouldn't, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't matter what you say in the document, as long as it's an MOU, it's not binding.
Okay, but it sounds to me like that's an approval process. So it would have to be in code, not an MOU.
Wayne Creek Special Service District signs all plats of Red Lake.
That was by interlocal agreement, I think.
I think maybe, with due respect to Heidi digging into this, Tony introduced the outlying question, do we do MOU or interlocal? And I don't think we answered that yet. What does that mean depends on if it's an MOU or if it's interlocal. So I know that there seems to be a divergence between county and city on that.
Might be good if the city explained to us why they wouldn't like to do an interlocal agreement.
Let me share, and I've been thinking about this for a day or two. When we did an interlocal agreement with the city when Red Ledges developed. We had some concerns. I think many of the same similar concerns that we have with what you're looking at in North Village. I mean, North Village is there. I guess, you know, you have a concern that it's there, but bottom line, it's there because he wouldn't reach out and take water and sewer to the college. And so, in effect, that denial created North Village within the county way back. And so it's there. But we have an interlocal agreement with the city on Red Ledges. And as I was looking around, I thought, boy, there's a lot of houses sticking above the ridge line. And so I asked Doug, I said, to explain that, and the county does a ridgeline ordinance. We, for any particular development, we identify certain viewing areas that you look at, and if anything sticks above the sky or above the mountain on that, from those viewing areas, it violates the ridgeline ordinance. Okay? Tony, where in city code do you have a ridgeline ordinance?
We don't, and that's the...
Here's the Red Ledges agreement.
Oh,
All parties agree that the county's ridgeline ordinance and standards are currently in effect will apply to the property and the project with the same force and effect as if the project were occurring within the county's jurisdiction. But yet all these years, you've never established a ridgeline ordinance to control what you agreed to in this agreement.
And the city should have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm saying is, we get told, well, we don't want to have an agreement because we don't want to be bound. Well, even when you're bound, you don't follow it. And you don't even follow your own. Where in city code does it talk about driveways will not front onto a collector road?
It's not in there.
Doug, didn't you find it somewhat reference to
I
it?
thought I did, but I looked today and
So maybe you don't have it. But I mean, I have to drive around right down Mill Road and 600 South, and anyway. So I guess that's my concern, at least, is MOU, you're bound
So
to
would
have
it have been different if it had been an MOU?
Well, at least you're not violating the agreement that you agreed to the same degree.
Well, and I agree with you, but I think what I'd be an advocate for is rather than doing an agreement that says you'll abide by the county's ordinance, I think it's better for the city just to adopt its own ordinance so that we can adopt it. Right.
But you haven't.
I agree, and that's kind of why if we're going to do an agreement again, or MOU, whichever it is, that it should say, look, city, take ownership of this issue yourself. Don't rely on the county's ordinance. Get your own ordinance and adopt it.
Well, I guess that would give us comfort if, before you agreed that, put that in your annexation boundary, that you put all that stuff that we have concerns with in your plan.
Right.
So Ken, it goes a lot farther than that too. It was intended to use the county code to enforce the ridgeline ordinance. There's two viewing platforms, 2400 East and the LDS Church. I think there are some violations. They should have been enforcing that, so they can adopt all the ordinances they want, but they've also got to make sure they're enforced.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, but I think we didn't enforce it because we didn't have the ordinance, right?
Well, that's part of it.
They say they use the county ordinance.
Okay, so we do have an enforceable ordinance, right?
Well, the issue is we don't have our own ordinance, that's one. But the second one is Red Ledges was plotted out through preliminary annexation. I mean, that was really, the place to take care of it. Now we've got a development, the preliminary.
Well, but this was put in place before the
I get
preliminary.
it, I get it.
So, Tony, in the last city council meeting, we approved Plat 2S, and there were staff comments about the placement of, restrictions on a specific lot, because it could only be 20 feet, the roof could only have a 20-foot height on it, or it'd be in violation of the ridge line considerations. So, we're doing something.
Oh, absolutely.
We, on that one, we particularly reached out to Doug. It started a year ago, and we asked for different, but if they want anything different, they have to have a survey proving that they're not. Like an actual licensed surveyor do elevation, things like that to figure out, prove that they're not violating.
Good as a, make sure you don't go over, before you break ground, you have to have certified by an engineer. So it's not over the height, even within the subdivision, even on the flat grounds, you can't go over